Michael, it has happened again. A suspected career criminal out on bond caught committing more crimes. Tonight, a passenger in his car is dead after the driver with an extensive criminal history fled from police.
There's a video out there, and it's not just any video. It's footage that changed everything about how we understand loyalty, responsibility, and the price of friendship in hip-hop. On camera, you see more than just a tragedy. You see the raw, unfiltered aftermath. You see how one moment, one decision, one split second of panic destroyed an entire life. Not just the death itself, we're talking about the guilt that follows, the trauma, the legal system about to absolutely crush somebody who couldn't even fully understand what was happening to them. This wasn't some random street beef. This wasn't gang politics or drug money or industry beefs. This was something deeper, something darker, something more human. This was about loyalty in the hip-hop world. The kind of loyalty that sounds beautiful when you hear it in a rap song, but looks completely different when it's playing out in real life. When it costs lives, when it empties bank accounts, when it forces you to make impossible choices. The footage exposes a dark reality about the circles we create, the people we keep close, and what happens when vulnerability meets the streets. Yo Gotti understand the 4K tree movement. You gotta understand who was running with NBA YoungBoy. Yo Gotti understand the dynamics of his inner circle when all this went down. The video resurfaced for a reason. It exposed something uncomfortable, something that made people question everything about how we handle mental health, loyalty, and justice. It raised uncomfortable questions about the industry, about friendship, about who's really looking out for who. To understand why this footage matters, why it went viral, why people couldn't stop talking about it, you gotta go back to the beginning. You gotta understand what NBA YoungBoy was really about. You gotta understand who DDAWG was and what he meant to him. Baton Rouge ain't no joke. This ain't the glamorous side of hip-hop you see in music videos with fancy cars and beautiful women. This is the real streets, the concrete, the poverty, the violence that defines a city. This is where NBA YoungBoy grew up, grinding, hustling, surviving, learning the game early, learning how to move, learning how to stay alive in a place where death is always knocking on your door. And it's in those same brutal, unforgiving streets where he met DeAndre Fields. Everybody called him D-Dog. Their connection wasn't manufactured in some label office. It wasn't built on money or clout or industry connections that rappers make in studios and backstage. Nah. Their bond came from something real, shared pain, shared struggle, and shared survival in one of America's most dangerous cities. Before YoungBoy had record deals, before he had millions sitting in the bank, before the fame and the sold-out tours and the record labels throwing money at him, they were just two homies trying to make it out alive, just trying to see tomorrow, just trying to build something that mattered, and that's what made it real. That's what made the bond unbreakable. D-Dawg wasn't trying to be famous. He wasn't sliding into the industry trying to network or promote himself or get features on tracks. He wasn't clout chasing. He wasn't trying to capitalize off YoungBoy's success. His loyalty to YoungBoy was pure, unfiltered, unconditional, no hidden agenda. No waiting for his moment to blow up. No waiting for opportunities to come his way through proximity. In an industry where literally everybody wants something from everybody else, money, connections, clout, features, opportunities, D-Dawg just wanted to be there for his brother. That's it. That's all he needed. That's all that mattered to him. That kind of loyalty is rare, genuinely rare, in the industry and in the streets. Real ones know what I'm talking about. When you find somebody who's got you for you, not for what you can do for them, that's family, that's blood. And YoungBoy felt that difference immediately. D-Dawg didn't have ulterior motives. He had genuine love. And in a world built on transactions, that's everything. But here's what people don't talk about. Here's the part that completely changes everything you thought you understood about this situation. Medical evaluations showed that D-Dawg had the mental capacity of a 10-year-old child. A 10-year-old. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being dramatic. That's the actual medical diagnosis. Think about that for a second. All those impulsive decisions that people criticized him for, all that childlike loyalty that seemed so pure it was almost naive. It wasn't just personality traits or character flaws. It was his reality. It was how his brain was actually wired. It was medical D-Dawg couldn't process danger the way other people could. He couldn't read situations with adult comprehension. He couldn't see red flags. He couldn't understand consequences like a grown man with a fully developed brain would. He literally couldn't. His brain didn't work that way. This is important. This is crucial to understanding everything that happened next. The justice system didn't give a damn about any of that. They didn't care about his medical condition. They didn't care that he had cognitive disabilities. D-Dawg's legal troubles started early. Minor street crimes. The kind of mistakes kids make when they don't understand the system or their own actions. But the justice system saw him as just another young black man to lock up and throw away. Each arrest led to another. Each conviction led to harsher sentences. Each bond got higher and higher, and the whole time, nobody in that system stopped to ask the real questions. Hold up, does this person even fully understand what's happening to them? Can they actually comprehend these charges? They didn't care. They treated him like a competent adult committing calculated, deliberate crimes. When really, he was a vulnerable person with a child's mind being fed through a machine that wasn't designed to help anybody like him. A machine designed to punish. DDAWG would do things without thinking them through. That impulsivity, it came from his condition. It was medical, not moral. But the streets didn't care about his condition. The streets didn't care about his disability. The streets punished him for it anyway. He trusted people he shouldn't have trusted. People who used him, people who took advantage of his condition. He walked into situations most people would see coming from a mile away. He couldn't read the room. He couldn't read people's intentions. He couldn't tell who was genuinely with him and who was just using him. And instead of getting help, instead of getting proper support and therapy and accommodation, he got arrested. Again and again and again. Deeper and deeper into the criminal justice system. More vulnerable, more alone, more trapped in a nightmare he couldn't escape from or even fully comprehend. NBA YoungBoy started rising, started climbing. The music got bigger, the fame got real. The money started coming through. Real money, serious money, the kind that changes your life. And through every single phase of that rise, every new album, every chart success, every time he leveled up, DDAWG was right there. Not as an employee on the payroll, not as security or staff hired to do a job, as family, as brother. While rappers were getting new friends and new homies and new hangers-on every time they got more famous, every time they made more money, YoungBoy kept DDAWG close. Because DDAWG reminded him where he came from. DDAWG kept him grounded when the industry was trying to change him, trying to mold him, trying to make him something he wasn't. And YoungBoy took care of him, financially, emotionally, like a big brother would, like a protector, like family. He understood DDAWG's condition and worked with it instead of against it. When DDAWG got locked up, YoungBoy didn't just pay the bail, get him out, and move on like nothing happened. He made a song. He actually recorded a track. He put out Free DDAWG for the entire world to hear. It wasn't some throwaway, forgettable diss track. It was a statement, a public declaration of loyalty and unconditional love for his homie. The song was YoungBoy saying to the whole industry, to the whole world, to everybody listening, this is my homie. This is my brother. And I'm not abandoning him when things get hard. It was frustration with the system that was swallowing his friend alive. It was real pain about what was happening to his best friend. It was therapy. It was a promise he was making, both to DDAWG and to himself. That song became iconic in the community. People understood what it meant. They understood what YoungBoy was saying without him having to spell it out. But DDAWG kept getting caught up. That's the tragic reality of the situation. Arrest, release. YoungBoy pays bail. New charges pop up. YoungBoy hires expensive lawyers. Another arrest comes through. Another bail situation. Another lawyer gets hired. It became a cycle. A never-ending cycle. Every single time DDAWG got locked up, YoungBoy showed up. He didn't get tired of it. He didn't abandon him when it became inconvenient or expensive. He just kept showing up, kept paying, kept fighting, kept believing in his brother. But DDAWG's impaired judgment, his cognitive limitations, they kept dragging him back into the streets, back into situations he couldn't navigate, back into danger he couldn't see coming. And the streets have a way of collecting what they're owed. The streets always get paid eventually. Baton Rouge is literally one of the most violent cities in America. We're not talking about statistics on a chart. We're talking about real violence, generational poverty, gang warfare that's been going on for decades. We're talking about a city that was designed, intentionally or not, to chew people up and spit them out. Surviving in Baton Rouge requires a specific skill set. It requires instinct, street smarts, the ability to read danger before it reads you, to anticipate threats, to move smart, to know who you can trust and who you can't. DDAWG's condition made survival nearly impossible. His brain couldn't do the calculus that the streets demanded. He couldn't process information fast enough. He couldn't see patterns. He couldn't protect himself the way a person with normal cognitive development could in being close to YoungBoy, a rising rapper. In a city full of gang conflicts and bitter feuds, made DDAWG an even bigger target. He became a walking target for enemies, for rivals, for people who wanted to hurt YoungBoy by going through the people he loved. DDAWG couldn't see it coming, couldn't protect himself, couldn't escape the danger that was hunting him. October 15th, 2023. This is the night when everything collapsed. Everything changed forever. DDAWG was out on bond. He was driving through Baton Rouge, just moving through the city like he'd done 1,000 times before. He notices a car, a vehicle following him, an unmarked police vehicle, he thought, and allegedly, and this is important to the story, allegedly playing music, allegedly playing tracks from Fredo Bang, a rival rapper. YoungBoy's rival. In DDAWG's mind, in his mental state, he interpreted that moment as a threat. His anxiety kicked in hard. His survival instincts, the ones that don't work right because of his cognitive condition, told him to run, to escape, to get away from what he thought was danger. He panicked. His fear took over. He fled. What started as a routine traffic stop became a high-speed chase through Baton Rouge streets. Adrenaline pumping, fear overwhelming his thinking. A man with a child's mind trying to escape what he thought was imminent danger. The chase ends in a crash, a devastating, catastrophic crash. His passenger, his close friend, somebody he cared about, was killed instantly. Dead on the scene, gone. DDAWG survived the impact. But survival meant facing what he'd done, meant carrying the weight, meant trying to understand, with his limited mental capacity, that his flight, his fear, his inability to think straight had just killed somebody he loved. DDAWG lived, but living meant carrying that weight forever. Physical injuries healed over time, bones mended, cuts closed. But the guilt, the trauma, that don't heal so quick. That guilt, for somebody with his mental capacity, was absolutely unimaginable. It was crushing. The legal system didn't hesitate for a second. They weren't sympathetic. They weren't thoughtful. Vehicular homicide charges came through. Felony charges. Life-changing charges that would follow him forever. A person with a 10-year-old's mind was now facing the full, crushing weight of adult criminal law. He couldn't even fully comprehend what was happening to him, what the charges meant, what prison could mean, what his life was about to become. The judge sets DDAWG's bond at $19.7 million, $19.7 million for a single person. That was unprecedented. That was shocking. That was a signal, a loud, clear signal from the court that they considered him an extreme flight risk, an extreme danger to the community. It was basically the judge saying, without saying, "We don't think you're getting out of this. We don't think you're ever leaving prison." But then something happened that shocked the entire hip-hop world. Something that people are still talking about today. NBA YoungBoy paid it. He paid the entire bond. All $19.7 million? He walked into that courthouse and made one of the largest bail payments in hip-hop history. He freed his homie. Think about that for a second. That's not just money. That's literally one of the most expensive, most public displays of loyalty and brotherhood in hip-hop history. That's putting your money where your mouth is in a way very few people ever do. The hip-hop community absolutely exploded with reactions. The discourse went crazy. Some people saw it as the realest thing ever. They celebrated it. YoungBoy standing by his family no matter what. No matter the cost. No matter what anybody said. No matter the financial burden. That's loyalty. That's brotherhood. That's real. That's what family's supposed to do. But then there were the critics. The ones saying, "Nah, that's enabling. That's not helping DDAWG. That's hurting him. That's telling him that no matter what he does, no matter how bad it gets, there's no real consequences. That's encouraging recklessness and bad decision-making." And beyond that criticism, it exposed something deeply ugly and unjust about the entire system. The reality is, most people don't have $19.7 million sitting around waiting to use it. Most people who commit crimes, even non-violent crimes, stay locked up in cells because they can't afford bail. They don't have millionaire homies to save them. YoungBoy's wealth and success let him buy his homie out, let him free him from jail. But what about everybody else sitting in those cells? What about the thousands of people with cognitive disabilities stuck in the system with nobody to pay their way out? That's the uncomfortable truth that the whole situation laid bare for everybody to see. This situation raised massive questions that America still hasn't answered. Questions we're still struggling with. How is the justice system supposed to handle people who don't have the mental capacity to fully understand their own charges? To understand their own trials? To participate meaningfully in their own defense? What's the responsibility of the people around them? Friends, family, mentors, loved ones, when somebody vulnerable is hurting themselves and potentially hurting others? And what's society's responsibility? Should we be throwing people with severe cognitive disabilities into prison systems that aren't equipped to help them? Should we be locking them away or finding them actual treatment and help? DDAWG's case is the perfect tragic example of all these massive questions colliding in one story. This story ain't over yet. DDAWG's case is still unfolding in real time. The courts are still doing their thing. But the narrative is already written into hip-hop history forever. For NBA YoungBoy, this is the ultimate proof that his loyalty runs deeper than the industry. Deeper than money, deeper than fame. He literally put his money and his reputation on the line for his brother. For the rest of us watching from the outside, this is a wake-up call. It's a story about mental health. It's about how the streets and the system prey on vulnerable people. It's about the price of loyalty. When you're trying to survive in a city that wasn't designed for survival, that was never designed to let you win. DDAWG's story is beautiful and tragic at the same time. It's hip-hop at its rawest. It's a reminder that behind all the music and all the beef and all the industry drama, there are real people, real pain, real consequences, real choices that matter. And sometimes loyalty costs more than anybody's willing to pay.